Welcome to Sports Talk with R and J. I am Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio, and another really busy show. I mean, you got the NBA playoffs. I mean, the NHL playoffs in full swing. You've got NFL started last week. College football, one conference is coming back. Baseball, they're finally Manfred made a good decision going to a bubble. But we got to start with Game 7 last night, and the Nuggets with a dramatic comeback over the Clippers. They were down 3-1 in that series. Many people thought that series was over. The Clippers had a 15-point lead in Game 5. They lose that game. They had a 16. Nobody probably saw this. They had a six. I think they had a 19-point lead on Sunday. They ended up losing that game. And last night, the Nuggets ended up beating them 104-89. Terrible nights from Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Had a combined 24 points. They scored 24 points combined. So terrible nights for those two guys. Jamal Murray proved last night why he is clearly a top 10 player in the NBA with 40 points. He had an outstanding game, and he was really good in Game 5 as well and Game 6, getting this team to the conference finals. Jamal Murray, a top 5 point guard and a top 10 player in the NBA. There's no debate about that right now. And Joe Kuch had a great game as well. I mean, he had a triple-double after 3 quarters. He was great too. And the Nuggets, who would have thought? The Nuggets are going to the Western Conference Finals to play the Lakers. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe the Clippers lost. They were my pick in the season to win the NBA championship. And this is going to hurt the legacies of definitely hurt the legacy of Paul George. It's going to hurt the legacy of Kawhi Leonard, because if you look at Kawhi Leonard, yes, he's a 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and I am a big defender of Kawhi Leonard, a huge defender of Kawhi Leonard. I'm a big Kawhi Leonard guy. I even said he was probably the best player in the game last year when they won the championship. But right now, I don't think you could put him in the top 3. I think he's not better than LeBron. He's definitely not better than LeBron and Durant. And right now, I hate to say it, I don't think he's better than Giannis. So to me, he's not a top 3 player in the game, because you look at the 2 titles he won. In San Antonio, he wasn't the best player on that team when he won the MVP. Still had Tony Parker. Tony Parker was really good. Duncan was still playing, so he wasn't the best player on that team. And then if you look at even winning it last year in Toronto, if KD's healthy, there's no way the Raptors win this series. So this loss definitely hurts Kawhi Leonard's legacy. I mean, just a brutal loss, and now it's been 50 years since the Clippers have gotten to a conference final. Crazy, just so stunning it happened last night.
Yeah, this Clippers team, they fell apart, and especially in that second half, they were awful shooting the basketball. And I just heard this too right before we went on the air. I guess PG and Montez Harrell got in a little argument during a timeout. So over a pass, I guess. I think PG threw a bad pass or something. This Clippers team never gelled either when they're at the bubble. They never played like the championship team we thought. They had their moments and they played well at times, but they never fully put it together. And I think it really hurt because Lou Williams, the whole time the bubble was awful. And you could see from the beginning when he went out and left the bubble that he was kind of, I just don't think he wanted any part of the bubble. And I think that was a tough loss for, that really hurt.
Look at Joe's comments. Trevor thought there was no chance that the Clippers would lose last night. And, Joe called it. He said the Nuggets would crush the Clippers. Yeah, he probably was thinking historically that the Clippers have never gone to a conference finals in 50 years, and he was right. So he was thinking about the historical aspect. Trevor was thinking, no, there's no way Kawhi's going to lose. But, hey, Joe's thought, what Joe was thinking, he was right last night. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, he was. He may have been the only person in America with that pick. I don't know. I know everybody was on the Clippers. I was on the Clippers.
Oh, I thought there was no way Kawhi was losing Game 7.
Yeah, especially after losing Game 5 and Game 6. But I think they tightened up too, and it's something more. You kind of see more college-wise and professional. But I think they tightened up. I think the more pressure the Nuggets, the closer the Nuggets kept this game, the tighter the Clippers got. And this is the third time Doc Rivers blew a 3-1 lead, so in a series in the playoffs. So. The whole team just pretty much collapsed. They did not shoot the ball well at all, and Jokic was pretty much toying with them. And I'm just stunned. I didn't think it was actually going to happen, and it did.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, this is obviously my pick to win it all, and I was just so stunned, Kawhi, because Paul George was on and off the entire time in the bubble. But how bad Kawhi Leonard was last night, and he was bad in Game 2 too. But how bad Kawhi Leonard last night. That was the most stunning thing. I mean, to be that good of a player and play that poorly in a deciding game, that to me, that was what was the most stunning thing for me.
Yeah, it was to shoot 6 for 22. Yeah, 2 for 7 from 3-point territory. Yeah, it was stunning how bad he was last night. And again, they just, him and Paul George, and I guess what even the rest of the team, they kind of just forced things. They forced the issue. They got behind and they kind of just started chucking, and they didn't really, because again, if Kawhi and Paul George wanted, more Kawhi than Paul George, but I think they could have gotten to the basket, but I think they just panicked. I think they just got, the Nuggets were close. They really needed Kawhi to really step up. And you're right about Paul George. He's been on and off the whole time. We know he's been dealing with some issues. So again, I'm not, 2 for 11. He wrote 4 for 16 total. He was bad, and they were just trying to chuck, just to have something going. They didn't even try something new. It was, the team just collapsed.
Oh yeah, and you brought it up too. This Clippers team really didn't gel in the bubble. I really think they just really didn't gel all year. I mean, were they real talent wise? They weren't 5.5 games behind the Lakers. But I just never thought this Clippers team really gelled all season. They were the most complete team in the NBA. I picked them to win it, but it just seemed like, because so many guys missed games. You had Kawhi Leonard with load management. You had other guys just missing games. This team, to me, just never really gelled all season, and this is. That is one of the reasons why they went out before the conference finals.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. This is a team pretty much all year, second place behind Lakers, obviously, and I think it's tough when I don't like this load management stuff. I understand why they do it. I'm not a big fan of it, and I think it does hurt because you lose it kind of chemistry wise. You take Kawhi off for a game or two. Even Paul George, I think, took some time games off, right? Little man, or he was.
Oh yeah, he took a couple. Yeah, he was hurt for a little while.
So it kind of hurts everything. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't think load management works, and especially I know they played 69, right? I think about 69 games before they, before the shutdown and all that, and then so you struggled gelling before that, and then you come back here and you just never really put it together. And I think maybe them taking a couple games, Kawhi may taking some little manage. I understand why I don't like it. I don't like how they do it. I know they say because they don't want to get hurt or whatever. I've never been a big fan of the load management stuff. I kind of think this is one of these points where this could come back to bite you.
Yeah, I mean, just not keeping the team together, load management. It hurts the fans. It hurts chemistry of teams. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. But we got to get to some of the NBA players, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, what they were saying on Twitter last night. Twitter was going off on the Clippers losing last night. I mean, there were a lot of things, funny memes out there with the Clippers losing. I mean, yeah, and there was that feud between I think it was Dame Lillard and Patrick Beverly. They did the Cancun joke that Dame Lillard had on Twitter. Just Twitter was going crazy last night with the Clippers losing.
Yeah, it was. Because especially and all the Laker fans are loving it because Clipper fans finally thought this was the year that they were going to overtake their inner city foe, and once again. That's not gonna happen, but yeah, because Lillard and Beverly got into it in the bubble, and I think Beverly was talking like they're gonna win the finals and all that, and now he can go join Damian Lillard back in Cancun.
Absolutely. Yeah, he can go join them there. Yeah, Lillard hasn't got there yet, but they'll probably be there together soon. I mean, just that was funny. All the stuff that happened on Twitter last night was really funny with the Clippers losing. But we'll get to the Western Conference Finals now with the Nuggets and the Lakers, and this should be an interesting series. I mean, I think though that I think AD is going to contain Jokic because Jokic had a big series, but now the Lakers have a guy that could contain Jokic, so I think he'll be contained in the series. But I still think Jamal Murray has another crazy series, and I think the Nuggets get 2 games just because of how good Jamal Murray is. He's a top 10 player in the game. But ultimately, I think LeBron and AD will be too much, and I think the Lakers will win that series in 6.
Yeah, I got the Lakers in 6. I don't know either how much the Nuggets have left in the tank. This is the first time in NBA history that a team's come back from 2-3-1 deficits. They've had to pull all their energy into those first two series, and now you get a Lakers team that's pretty fresh right now. They've played, they've only had to go to game fives in both their series, so um, they're rested. So I think they can get 6, but I think they can push it to 6, but it should be a good one. Murray's got to have a big series because I think Jokic is still going to play well. I think, but it's going to be tough for him to really be that guy. Like I don't think he's going to be able to drop a triple double every game. And they're also going to need their bench. I know Michael Porter.
He's been inconsistent in the playoffs. He was really good in the bubble. He's been inconsistent in the playoffs.
Yeah, he has. Like game 5, he came up with that big shot. I know he didn't do anything the first 47 minutes, but hits a big 3 to put them on top. So they really need their bench. If their bench can provide some relief and provide some scoring, I think they could push it to 7. But if not, I could see it. I could even see it going 5 games if they can't.
Oh yeah, I could see it going 5 or 6. But we all know one thing: the Nuggets got a good chance to win Game 1 because we've seen with the Lakers the 2 games they've lost in this postseason have been Game 1.
Yeah, it has, and the Nuggets would love to get off to a good start too, so they don't have to go down trailing 3-1 again. They love to kind of get off to a good start and kind of show the world, hey, we're gonna give the Lakers a series. We're gonna battle these guys, and we're not gonna be a pushover on them. So definitely, I think the Nuggets are be ready to go, and the Lakers better be too. I know they've been rested. It's gonna be a week since the last time the Lakers played, so they'll be fresh. We'll see how in sync they are now, getting back to game action after a week, and how maybe tired I wouldn't say tired, but has fatigue started to kick in with the Nuggets. They get the extra day, which is nice that they don't have to play tomorrow. They're off to Friday, which gives them an extra day, which I think obviously beneficial for the Nuggets.
Yeah, I know, and definitely it's beneficial for the Nuggets to get that day of rest, and that's also beneficial for them because the Lakers could be a little rusty, and that rust continues if the Lakers have another day off. So that's why, I think it's beneficial. But in the end, I think the Lakers are just the better team. They got the 2 best players in the series, and that's why I got them winning it in 6.
Yeah, I got them. I get the Lakers winning 6. I just think they're just too much, and especially the way Kuzma played. They're starting to come on even more. Game 5 dropped like 18. I think they're starting to get it going scoring wise, and I think it's just going to be too much for the Nuggets.
Yeah. I think so as well. But we got to go on to the Eastern Conference Finals, and a great game last night between the Heat and the Celtics. Game 1, Heat win it 117-114. I mean, Butler came up with some huge, was so clutch, came up with some huge clutch baskets for the Heat. Tatum was awesome, 30 points. He had a great game. But the biggest play of the game, though, was Bam's block on Jason Tatum. Great block, game-winning play. That was the reason why the Heat have a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. I think the series is going to be back and forth because both these teams are a little bit streaky. I mean, there's no top 10 players. I mean, Butler and Tatum are top 15 players, and there's no top 10 players in this series, so they're all streaky in terms of scoring. So that's why I think the series is really, really even. But I'm going to give that slight edge to Miami because the culture. This is the best organization in the league. I'll take the better coach in Eric Spoelstra. I'm picking Miami in 7 in this series.
I got the Celtics in 7. I'm going to stick with it. It hurt. That Bam block. I think that had to be the best block I've seen, and ever. And I think with Jason T in the way, and I really think the Celtics blew an opportunity with Jason Tatum scoring 30, and for the most part, for most of that game, was the best player on the floor, and you kind of blew an opportunity in game 1, which will be interesting to see how they bounce back from that. The Celtics too at the end, which worries me for the rest of the series is the final few minutes of that game. They just stood around. They tried to kill the shot clock and just took ridiculous shots.
Yeah, the problem with the Celtics is who's going. I mean, yes, Kemba has his clutch moments, but who's going to be that guy to take over at the end of a game? They don't have that guy. Brown, Tatum, and Kemba are all really good players. I think Tatum's going to be a superstar, but right now they're not outstanding players or guys that could take over in the final minutes of a game. That's the problem with the Celtics. I feel like that's the edge the Heat have. Is they got a guy like Jimmy Butler, a closer that could take over. He might not be great throughout the entire game, but at the end of the game, he's the guy you want with the ball in his hands.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think that is one of the which is going to be tough for the Celtics is Butler. We saw it with that big three last night. He's just again, he's been in the he's been in these big moments. So yeah, I think you do get the edge to Butler there. I thought about this too. I don't get why the Celtics. I know they have like Brown and Tatum and Walker, but so Brown's kind of on a weaker defender, so he just sits in the corner. Why don't you try to run something for Jaylen Brown? Because you're paying him $100 million a year to sit in a corner at that end of the game. Why don't you try to design something for him? He's got a weaker defender on him. I love Kemba, but he really could not hit anything last night. Tatum kind of took some bad shots for the end. Why don't you try to draw something for Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you have the weaker defender, why don't you take advantage of that? And I think that's something Brad Stevens is going to do later in the series. I think that's the adjustment Brad Stevens is going to make. I trust him to do that. He's a really good coach. So I think they are going to get Jaylen Brown more involved later in the series.
Yeah, hopefully, because if they can do that, I think they have a really good shot at knocking the Heat off. And then kind of the last kind of point here for me with the Celtics is I think another edge I give the Heat to would be I don't think the Celtics do not have a guy that can guard Bam Adebayo. And when I watching that last night, they don't have a guy. And I think he had 18, 6 rebounds and 9 assists. He shot 5 for 12 from the field. I think he's a guy that could really be a impact player for the. He already is an impact player, but I think he could be a difference maker in this series because the Celtics do not have a guy that can slow him down.
Absolutely. He's a borderline. He could potentially be a superstar. He's great defensively. He's good offensively. He's definitely right now the second outside of Jimmy Butler, the second best player on the Heat.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's pretty much him and Butler, and then Jay Crowder right now, who's tore them up right now. He's shooting like 40% from three so far in the playoffs. Jay Crowder gave him 22 last night against his former team, and they just left them open. But Bam, he's right there at the top superstar, and they got him like didn't they pick him like 13th too?
I think so. Yeah, he's played at Kentucky, right?
Yeah, he went to Kentucky. A great pick right toward the end of the ladder. He's turned out unbelievable. But the Celtics, they got to win game 2. They had their opportunities. I know Kemba's last 3 games have been awful, but I just have a feeling Kemba plays his best when the game's on the line. When they're when his back's against the wall. I expect Kemba to have a monster game 2.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. It should be interesting to see what happens between the Celtics and the Heat. But we got to get to the NFL, and we got to get to week 2, which starts tomorrow night. And it's a very interesting game of 2 number 1 picks in the last 3 years. You got Baker Mayfield, who was the number 1 pick in 2018, and you got Joe Burrow, who was the number 1 pick this year. This is an interstate rivalry between these two teams. These two teams don't like each other. This should be a really good game. I think how this game's going to go, I think that Cincinnati will have some success on the ground with Joe Mixon. I think Joe Burrow will make some plays. And I think this is a game where Cleveland's going to really be able to run the ball down Cincinnati's throat. I think the difference in this game is going to is the quarterback play. I think that Joe Burrow is going to make less mistakes than Baker Mayfield. I think the Bengals are the more functional team right now. We've heard rumors Odell Beckham wants out of Cleveland right now, so we've heard rumors about that. So I think the Bengals are the more functional team, and I think they'll get the better quarterback play tomorrow night. And that's why I got the Bengals pulling the upset in Cleveland 24-20.
I got the Browns 21-17. I like the way the Bengals played. They had their opportunities. Joe Burrow played pretty well. He had that very bad shovel, kind of shovel pass right at the end that got picked. Or not, but like about 5 minutes left.
And then he drove him down the field.
Yeah,
but then the field goal kicker couldn't kick a field goal.
Yeah, Bullock, yeah.
Bullock missed the field goal, yeah.
Yeah, pulled his hamstring afterwards. But the Browns worry me. And again, it's the same old story for the Cleveland Browns. It's just, again, and Baker, there's some doubts now about, 2 years ago, you kind of thought, all right, Cleveland finally found their guy. He's been struggling, coming off a short week. I think Cleveland will be able to run the ball. You know, if the Browns want any chance for a wild card bid, you got to win this one because you got Washington at home next week, then you go to Dallas. So you could be really staring yourself at 1-3. Even the way the Washington played, that's not gonna be an easy one. They could be staring 0-4 if they lose this game. I think this is a huge game. I think Cleveland's gonna be able to pull it out. I expect a much better effort because them or the Jets, you could pick either or, did not show up Sunday for the worst performance. I think they come back and bounce back.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a huge game for Baker Mayfield. I mean, if Baker Mayfield doesn't play well in this game, there's going to be talk about him being benched for Case Keenum. And I'm telling you, honestly, I think with this offense, Case Keenum has been in this offense with Kevin Stefanski. There's a very good chance if Baker gets benched and Case Keenum comes in, and Case Keenum could take this team to the playoffs. Yes, I know there's the Odell Beckham stuff, and Odell Beckham and Baker can't get on the same page, but part of this is Baker is just not playing with the weapons Baker has around him. There's no excuse. I know Beckham's overrated. He's not a top level receiver, but he's still really good. Jarvis Landry's still really good. I mean, they've added pieces on the offensive line with Jack Conlon and Jedrick Wills. You got the running game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Baker has got to play well and win this game tomorrow night. But knowing Baker Mayfield and the way he's played in the last year plus, I can't see it. I don't see it happen. I just don't see it happening. That's why I got the Bengals winning at 24-20.
Yeah, no, I'm very concerned about it. I'm back and forth about it. I just, I think you're going to see a very good showing for Cleveland because they have the weapons. I think he's going to show up a little bit better. Again, I'm not expecting him to play, again, like a top 5 quarterback, but I think he plays a lot better. I think I like him, Stefanski. Yeah, I cannot say his last name for some reason. I just think that they have a little bit more offensive weapons than the Bengals. Again, I think it'll be enough to get them to the top, and I think they know. Again, back to back. Last year people thought this was a playoff team. Now this year, people, again, think that this could be a wild card team once they can get back to the playoffs. They're going to have, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 fans there too. So you lose this one and you don't play well, there's probably going to be some boosts you're going to be hearing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll go to my Giants on Sunday, and they travel out to Chicago to face the Bears. And this is an interesting game. But I think this is a game the Giants got to win. I mean, if you look at the Bears, yes, they had that great comeback against the Lions. Mitch Trubisky got hot, but a lot of that was because of the Lions and how they collapsed. And we'll get to that. I mean, we'll get to Matt Patricia and how pathetic he is as a head coach. We'll get to how Matthew Stafford is totally overrated. We'll get to that. But this is going to be, I think, a really, really close competitive game. But the Bears have their issues right now with Allen Robinson, as you've heard. He wants out of Chicago, so there's some dysfunction there with the Bears. And the Giants, even though they lost on Monday night, I think Joe Judge is changing the culture a little bit. I think this team is showing a lot of effort. I think the culture is there. Judge is changing the culture here. And I think this is going to be an interesting game. And for the Giants, I think Daniel Jones is, even though this is a good Bears defense, I feel like Daniel Jones is going to play well. Yes, he was okay on Monday night, but he did make a couple of mistakes, especially that one in the red zone, which absolutely cannot happen. But I think Jones plays pretty well in this game. Barkley, I still don't think has a great game because that run blocking of the Giants' offensive line is absolutely terrible right now. And the front for the Bears is, even though Robert Quinn might not play, is still really, really good. So I do think Daniel Jones has a decent game. And for the Giants defense, I think they're able to shut down, they're able to contain the running game of David Montgomery and Takk McKinley, and attack Cohen. And I think that that they're going to get pressure on Mitch Trubisky. I think Mitch Trubisky's going to struggle a little bit. He's an inconsistent quarterback, and I think he's going to struggle a little. I think he's going to struggle a little bit against the Giants. So I think this game comes down to the end, and I think the Giants defense makes a stop, and I think the Giants pull the upset. I got the Giants winning Sunday 20-17 over the Bears.
Confident. I got the Bears. I know the Giants. I know it was a tough loss the other night, but I think you guys are going in the right direction though. I think you give it another year or two, and I think you guys are going to be okay.
As Joe just commented, Giants have to learn to close games, and it starts with better fourth quarter. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it's been for the Giants the last 3 or 4 years. They've been terrible in the fourth quarter when their defense has needed to make a stop. They've rarely made one, and that's a big reason why the poor fourth quarters is a big reason why the Giants have lost more games than any other team in the NFL the last 3+ years. That's why. That's a really good point by Joe. There is they definitely have to learn to start closing games in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and go ask Matt, as you mentioned a minute ago. Go ask Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions about that because you got to get out games in the NFL. It's not easy to close out games. But I think the Bears have the edge here. I did not like the Giants' offensive line or run blocking. That was actually the first time a Giants running back had negative yards going to halftime. The last time was Tiki Barber back in 2002 versus the Titans.
And let me just say something for a minute. And all these people are saying that Saquon Barkley's not that good in a bust. You have no clue what you're talking about. I mean, the Steelers had guys in the backfield right before he even touched the ball. So stop talking about that stuff. Even Tiki Barber was saying that Saquon Barkley is not an every down back. That is total nonsense. Come on, just because he's not great in picking up blitzes, this guy's. That's the most idiotic thing you could say. He's completely every down back. Come on, he's one of those. He's probably outside of Christian McCaffrey the best running back in the league. So how is he not a third down back? He can run routes. He could catch balls out of the backfield and run routes. That's complete nonsense about Saquon Barkley. Come on now.
Oh, I know. Like there was nothing he could do the other night. He'd get the handoff and there'd be 5 Steelers waiting for him. Like you could put any running back in the history of the NFL back there. They were not breaking any of those tackles. You could see when Barkley gets out in space, he is dangerous and he is tough to bring.
You saw it on that screen during the game too when he hurled over Devin Bush.
Yeah, it's all you have to get him out in space, and again, I think when this line gets together, there's a couple new pieces. They're going to be fine. I think Barkley's going to be able to run the ball well, and it's going to make the Giants and it's going to help out Daniel Jones to play action. So I think they just need to get to that point, and I think more and more reps, again, losing 4 preseason games probably hurts that offensive line. So you kind of get in rhythm here for the next month, and maybe I think things get better. But I still think they're going to struggle, though, in the run game for this one. And I think the Bears are going to be able to pull it out and go to 2-0.
We got a rematch of Super Bowl 49 to Super Bowl everybody remembers between the Patriots and the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. And this is going to be I think this is going to be an exciting game. I think definitely the Seahawks will score a lot of points. Yes, the Patriots defense was good last Sunday, but come on, they played Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think this will be the Sunday where the opt-outs are going to hurt the Patriots. I think Russell Wilson has a big game. I think the Patriots front seven, that's one of the weaknesses of their team. They didn't get a ton of pressure on Fitzpatrick last Sunday. I think that Seattle will have success running the ball. I think that Russell Wilson has a big game through the air. But I do think Cam Newton has a good game, and I really, really like what this Patriots coaching staff is doing with Cam Newton. They're designing this offense around them, and this is why the Patriots have the best coaching staff in the league. Is because they don't just stick to one thing that they want to do. They design their scheme and what they do around what their players do best. That's why they've been the best coaching staff in the league for 2 decades, because they see what you do well and they're not stubborn. They see what you do well and they utilize you to your strengths instead of just trying to figure out their scheme. They utilize you to your strengths, and you saw that with Cam Newton last week. 15 design runs, read option, zone read. They utilize the offense, Cam Newton's strength. He played really well last week. The only concern, though, was I thought they left some points on the field, the Patriots. I mean, with the fumble near the goal line, Cam took a bad sack. I think they had a missed field goal, too. So they left some points on the field, which they can't do against Seattle. But I think they're going to score some points in this game, and I think Cam's going to play well. I think they'll have some success running the ball as well, too. But in a high-scoring game, I got the Seahawks beating the Patriots 31-24.
Yeah, I get Seahawks winning 24-21. Again, you're going up against a much different quarterback here. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think, forgot what team he was playing for, because all 3 of his interceptions went right to Patriots. Again, the offense played well. I liked what they did offensively. The only thing is they cannot have Cam Newton running the ball 15 times a game.
No, I completely agree there, because he's not going to last the season doing that. But you want some design runs for him every game.
Oh yeah, you do because he's 6'5", 6'6", 250 or whatever. Yeah, he can run you over. So I kind of like that they kind of did that too with Jacoby said a couple years ago. When Brady was suspended, it kind of reminded me kind of how what they kind of ran for Jacoby Brissett back then. I also liked Adrian Phillips. I heard mostly they're going to use him on special teams, but they threw him in the box a couple of times and it really messed up Fitzpatrick. He picked off one. He was able to drop back and he kind of knew the coverages and all that. He kind of confused Fitzpatrick a couple of times. So I like the way he played. N'Keal Harry, a lot of Patriot fans are on him. Want him cut.
And not cut, but he needs to step it up.
He does, and this is he missed the first 10 or 11 games last year. He didn't have a preseason this year. He's really struggling. He had the fumble. That fumble, he should have. I forgot who tackled him. Whoever that was, he should have ran him over. He had a touchdown. He lowered the shoulder pad, run him over for a touchdown. He dropped the pass too. He's not a great route runner. They really, really need him to get going. Again, I'm not quitting on him yet, but I'm getting pretty close to it. He's a first round pick. They need to get him going. That's the concern for me is, I just don't know if they have enough offensive weapons. Again, Edelman was great, but they ran the ball they ran the ball well. Their backs did. I like J.J. Taylor, the undrafted running back at Arizona. I think this Seattle team is really good. You got Russell Wilson, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I just think going up to Seattle on a Sunday night, I think Seattle's going to get them in a close one.
Yeah, that should be a really good one on Sunday night. It always is when those two teams go up against each other. But we got an NFC matchup in Dallas this week as the Falcons travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys. And I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. There's going to be a lot of points. Zeke will have a big day. Dak will have a big day. Cooper will have a big day. Matt Ryan will have a big day. Todd Gurley will have a pretty good game. And then I think Julio Jones and Calvin really have big days too. I got this as a high-scoring game back and forth. But I'll take the team with the better roster and the team that's at home. And I'll pick the Cowboys to win 34-27 over the Falcons.
Yeah, I got a pretty close score to you. I got 35-27 Dallas. I think Dallas is up by 2 scores, and then Atlanta gets a late touchdown, makes a 1-score game. Same old Dallas on that 4th down. I understand why he kind of went for it, but you don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. You take the points and
here's the thing. Their fans want to talk about that offensive PI call. That call, that terrible call decision by McCarthy cost you that football game, not the stupid offensive PI call. So stop talking about that. Yeah. Again, you fire Jason Garrett, you get rid of him, say, oh, it's all his fault. Then you bring Mike McCarthy in. Funny, they fire Garrett, say it's all his fault. McCarthy comes in and makes a bad coaching decision. Have we seen this in Dallas before? Have you seen this in Dallas for years?
Oh yeah. They always want to put blame on somebody other than their own team. It seems like. We've seen it. We've seen it before. I think they'll be able to bounce back. It was, again, we saw a lot of bad offensive and defensive pass interference calls. It's week 1, again, it is what it is,
Oh, exactly. You just have to get over it. I mean, it happens. We saw it in the Cincinnati game. We saw it a couple times in the Giant game. It just happened. You there, Justin?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying it happens pretty much all around the league. So Cowboy fans just need to stop talking about it.
Oh yeah, Again, you take the points there, you tie it up, and who knows what happens in OT.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. So we got a AFC matchup in Pittsburgh. No, we got an AFC matchup in Pittsburgh as the Joe. Don't go to this one. We have we'll go stay with the AFC matchup in Pittsburgh. We got an AFC matchup in Pittsburgh as the Broncos travel to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. And I think it's gonna be a really rough day for the Broncos. Short week, playing Monday night on a short week, having to go play the Steelers. And the Steelers they did play on Monday night as well, but they'll be at home. I think they get pressure on Drew Lock. I think they force Drew Lock to make some mistakes. I think the Steelers defense capitalizes on that. And I think on offense, Big Ben is efficient again, does a good job, managing the game. And I got the Steelers winning this one. I got them winning it 27-13 to go to 2-0, and the Broncos to go to 0-2.
Yeah, I got Pitt win this one 23-17. Yeah, after those first couple drives for Big Ben, he settled in, got the rust off of him, and looked really, looked good after that. I think their defense gonna be able to make some plays. I think Broncos are gonna struggle to run the football. It's gonna be a very good test for Drew Lock to see where he's at. I know again they had faced a tough defense in Tennessee last week. Now you go to Pitt. Big Fangio too. The way they lost that game, the time
Oh,
management these guys.
horrible time management, clock management by Vic Fangio. How do you cannot lose a game like that? I mean, I don't know if they would have won the game, but you didn't really give your team a shot to win that game. That was the thing.
Yeah, you didn't. And then he defended himself on Monday. And then yesterday he came out and was like, "Yeah, I should have used the timeouts." It's like again, you can't take them to the bank with you. But yeah, tough loss for them. And I know AJ Bouye is questionable too at the moment, so that could be a tough loss in the secondary for him. So I think Pitt will be able to, for his home game, they should be able to take care of business.
We got an NFC South matchup in Tampa as Tom Brady and the Bucs are looking to bounce back against the Panthers. I mean, I was a little surprised when Bruce Arians called. And I know Bruce Arians is a straight shooter, but I'm a little bit surprised when he called him out publicly this week. But I think the Bucs got the perfect team, perfect defense to play against, the perfect team to bounce back against. And that's the Panthers. I think they'll be able to get the run game going. I think Tom Brady will have a really good day. And on defense, I think because last year they did a really, really good job of shutting Christian McCaffrey down in the running game. I think they do that. Yes, McCaffrey will make his plays in the passing game, but I think they shut him down in the running game. And I think this is a complete win for the Bucs. In all three phases, they play well. And I got the Bucs beating the Panthers 30-17.
I get the Bucs 35-24. I think this, I like the fight in that Carolina team. They're not going to get pushed over. I wasn't surprised that Arians called them out because I think he kind of sent a statement to the team saying, "Hey, I'm going to call, if I call Tom Brady, I can call,
Yeah, but still, it's Tom Brady. He's won 6 Super Bowls. Bruce Arians has won nothing. He's been good as a head coach. He's never won a Super Bowl as a head coach. Now, I think he's a good head coach, but he's not Bill Belichick who could treat Tom Brady that way. I feel like if Arians does that, there could be some real friction between Brady and Arians during the season if he continues to do that. I think he's got to treat Tom Brady a little bit differently because that's why Tom Brady left New England is he wanted to be treated. I know he took Belichick's coaching for so long. I think Brady wants to get treated a little bit differently. I think that's why that surprised me a little bit that Arians would call him out like that.
Actually, yeah, that point, yeah, because I think that was kind of definitely one of the reasons he left New England. Practice, wanted the day off or two practice wise, but and also they had Mike Evans was hurt too. I know he only had one catch, which again, you get him healthy, you're gonna have 5-6 catches, especially this Carolina secondary that's really struggling. It's got a lot of younger pieces to it, so I think the Bucs are gonna be able to score some points. I think Brady's having a nice bounce back day. They should be able to win this one 35-24. But I think Carolina keeps it tight for a while, but I just think Tampa's got too much.
We got an interconference game at MetLife Stadium this week as the 49ers travel all the way across the country to face the Jets. And I know the Niners are traveling cross country. I know they're not going to have Richard Sherman. They might not have George Kittle. But let's be honest, look who they're playing. They're playing the Jets, who that 27-17 score was totally unindicative of how that game was played. The Bills should have won that game 41-10. I mean, they fumbled twice in the red zone. They missed 2 field goals. Josh Allen missed wide open receivers. So I think in this game, I think that the 49ers are going to, get some yards on the ground. Even though the Jets will contain their ground game, I think the Niners will get some yards on the ground. Jimmy G will make plays. And I honestly think Sam Darnold is going to have a really, really rough time with this Niners defense. I think they're going to be all over him pretty much all game long. The Jets are not going to be able to get the run game going because Bell is out. I think this is going to be a long, long day for the Jets offense. Defense might keep them in the game for about a half, but I think this is a long day for the Jets offense. And I got the Niners bouncing back from last week and beating the Jets 23-10.
Yeah, it was going to be tough enough to beat this Niners team. But coming off a loss that they did at home against Arizona, now you're going to get an angry 49er team in there. And I've really lost all faith in Sam Darnold. He still makes rookies mistakes out there.
And that was my problem on Sunday. He had another horrendous interception in that game. He's got to just stop. The problem is he's just got to stop throwing those horrendous interceptions. And I get the fact he doesn't have weapons. I get the fact Adam Gase is not a good coach. I get all those things. But Andrew Luck was in the same situation in his third year. And guess where the team was the 2 years previous to that? They got to the playoffs. And what happened in his third year? He got to the AFC Championship game. So you can't even try to explain to anybody that this guy is a superstar. Yes, I think this guy has a chance to be a franchise quarterback, but right now he needs to step it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right now he's a lot of hot water. I heard this is Michael K. show. Jets get the first overall pick and Trevor Lawrence comes to town.
To be honest, I think that that's a long way away. But if that does happen, I mean, I wouldn't doubt the Jets do that. Just get rid of Darnold. And I'm not saying to get rid of them if they're that bad, that means the quarterback play is just so bad where you can't pass on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you couldn't. You would have to give Trevor a shot because imagine they pass up on Trevor. That Jet fan base would be mad.
Very upset.
But I just think the Jets are not a very good team right now. I know they're banged up. I don't know why they put Le'Veon Bell back in that game. Another questionable decision by Gase. I think the Niners come in here and do whatever they want to the Jets.
Yeah, the Niners should win this game. The Niners, even though they're traveling across the country, they should bounce back and win this game. But we got an AFC East matchup in Miami as the Bills travel down to Miami to face the Dolphins. And in this game, I think this game might be competitive for a half because, I think the Dolphins defense, just like they were last week against the Patriots, I think they'll keep the game close. But I just think that the Bills will have some success with the run game with Devin Singletary and Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. And even though Josh Allen is good for a turnover game, he will get some yards on the ground and he'll throw maybe a touchdown pass or two. And on defense, I think the Bills shut down this Dolphins offense. I think they get pressure on Fitzpatrick. I think Fitzpatrick throws a couple more interceptions. I think that the Bills shut down the Dolphins running game. And I think this will be Ryan Fitzpatrick's last start as a Miami Dolphin. And I got the Bills winning this game 23-13, and the Dolphins will turn things over to Tua after this game.
Wow. So you think Tua is going to start week 3?
Week 3, yes. That's my prediction now. Week 3.
They got Jacksonville too.
I know, but hey, they got to get some wins.
They do. And if Fitzpatrick plays as bad as he did Sunday, I could very possibly see that happening. They are awful. Again, their defense, I know their defense kind of struggled, but they didn't really know what to expect from the Patriots wise. Offensively, Fitzpatrick killed them. They were not able to get a running game going, and I think the Bills here are going to give you what I think they could. Again, I could see the Dolphins scoring 14 points, 7, maybe even up to 17 if Josh Allen makes some mistakes, but they can cut those down. I think this is a total blowout, and they didn't really get the run game going last week with Singletary Moss, but I think they're going to get going this week against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think they get it going. I think they go to 2-0 and win this game. But we got an interesting NFC game in Philadelphia as the Eagles try to avenge their Week 1 loss as the Rams come to Philadelphia 1-0. And this should be a really interesting game. The Eagles are hoping to get Miles Sanders and Lane Johnson back, and they desperately needed them because they couldn't run the ball on Sunday and they couldn't protect the quarterback. And that was by far the biggest reason they lost, and a big reason why Carson Wentz didn't play well. Well, he had 2 awful turnovers in the game. But I think in this game, Carson Wentz plays better. Miles Sanders is good against the Rams' run defense. I think that the Eagles' offensive line, even though they're got to go up against Aaron Donald, they play better. I think the Rams move the ball as well, but I think when the Eagles move the ball, they'll get touchdowns, the Rams will get field goals, and that'll end up being the difference in a really, really close competitive game where I have the Eagles beating the Rams 21-20.
I have the Rams 24-21, even though I always worry about a West Coast team going to East Coast for a 1 o'clock kick. But I know Eagles may get a couple of pieces back, but I think Aaron Donald just I think he dominates. I think the rest of that line could. I know they're probably going to have to double Donald, and I think that just gives their edge guys more opportunities, get in there and make plays. Because again, the collapse like they did up 17-0 to Washington, that was bad. And I know they're all banged up and everything. Once didn't play well. It just was not impressive to me. And I thought Goff was okay, but he did what he had to do. Um, and then with that Aaron Donald, what he did to Ezekiel Elliott too in the backfield, um, was impressive.
That guy's on a mission this year
Yeah.
to easily be a defensive player of the year.
Oh, God, yeah. I think by the way he played week 1, I think he's got a very good shot at it. And again, I think he could have another big game right here. And I get the Rams winning on the road.
Got an AFC South matchup in Tennessee as the 1-0 Jaguars face the 1-0 Titans. And I think this is a game where Derrick Henry has a huge game. Derrick Henry owns the Jaguars. I think he has a huge game on the ground. I think the Titans move the ball really, really well against the Jaguars, get into the 30s, score over 30 points. And for Jacksonville, I think Gardner Minshew plays pretty well. I think he moves the ball. I think he gets the ball to DJ Shark. But I think the problem here is I don't think the Jags will be able to get really any kind of a running game against Tennessee's defense. And I think Tennessee wins this, and I got them winning it by 2 scores. I got Tennessee going to 2-0, winning 31-17 over the Jags.
I got Jags looking this close, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars could be this last year's Miami Dolphins. I think they could steal 4 or 5 wins. I think they could.
I mean, you're just saying that because they won in week 1. The real reason they won in week 1 is because Phillip Rivers is absolutely pathetic. Okay.
No, he was. I like the again. I know their offense didn't do a ton. I like I still like the defense for how many new pieces they have. And
I'll give you this. C.J. Henderson played a pretty good game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, he looked good. And I know that he did. And I think in the way the Titans play, they just like to win kind of ugly, low-scoring games. And I think Tennessee's gonna put up some points. I think Jacksonville's gonna be able to keep it close. Minshew had 19 for 20. That's really good. And I know that they didn't take any deep shots or anything, but he still was good and was still good efficiency wise. I think the Jags are able to keep it close at home or on the road. Sorry.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game, but I got Tennessee winning it by 2 scores. We got an NFC North matchup in Green Bay as the Packers face the Lions. I think in this game, the Lions do keep it close early because of their running game with it, because Adrian Peterson had a good week last week. Him, Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift, I think they keep it close because of their running game. But in the second half, as we all know in the Matt Patricia era, the Lions will collapse. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has another big week against the Lion defense that was terrible at the end of the game against the Bears. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers has a huge game. Devontae Adams has a good game. So does Aaron Jones. I think Stafford has a Matthew Stafford game where he makes some plays and he makes some mistakes. And I think the run game is pretty good for Detroit. But at the end of the day, I think Green Bay's pass rush, getting pressure on Stafford and Aaron Rodgers is the reason why the Packers will win. Another reason why is Matt Patricia is a horrendous NFL head coach. Horrendous. He's the worst coach in the league. And I'll tell you what happened last week. Why? Up 10 points with 4 minutes to go. Ball on the 38-yard line against Mitch Trubisky. The guy kicks a 55-yard field goal, and the guy misses it. Bears score a touchdown, and then they score another touchdown. Matt Patricia should have been fired after that game on Sunday. He is a horrendous head coach. Should have been fired last year. He's a horrendous coach, the worst coach in the league. But for the game on Sunday, I got the Packers winning 31-20, but just had to get that Matt Patricia rant in. He should not be head coach in the NFL.
No, he is not done well in his tenure. That was actually the 11th game in 3 years that he has blown a fourth quarter lead.
Yeah, that's what Mike Valenti was saying on 97 Won the Ticket on Monday. 11 fourth quarter leads out of the 33 games he's coached. 11 blown fourth quarter leads. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Their secondary banged up. They just put Justin Coleman in the IR. Akuda's questionable. So I again, Aaron Rodgers on a mission too this year. So I think Aaron Rodgers comes out and I think he balls out in this game. I think they put up a huge number on this Detroit team again. I think they won 38-17. And I don't like how people either are blaming DeAndre Swift. They should have never been in that spot anyways.
I completely agree with you there. Yeah, that game should have been won much earlier than it was. Much earlier.
Yeah. So I don't blame Swift, and I don't and hopefully he can bounce back because, again, besides that, I think he had a pretty solid game.
Yeah, he had a touchdown run in the game.
Yeah, so he had solid game for his first, career game. So again, hopefully that doesn't hurt, bring him down too much because I think he'd be really good. But I think Packers should win big.
We have a interconference game in Indianapolis as the Vikings travel to Indy to face the Colts. And I think that in this game, this will be a close competitive game. I think Indy will contain Dalvin Cook. I think that Kirk Cousins will make some plays, but I think he'll struggle a little bit against Indy's defense. I do think that Minnesota's defense has their way with Phillip Rivers, who right now might be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in football. He was absolutely terrible against the Jaguars, and I think he's going to struggle again. And that's why I got the Vikings winning. I think this again comes down to the last drive where Phillip Rivers has to make a play, either doesn't get them down the field to score, or throws a game stealing a interception. And I got the Vikings beating the Colts 23-17.
Yeah, I got the Vikings bouncing back 27-20. Rivers actually since 2010 against the Jaguars, 20 touchdowns to 1 interception.
You mean against the Vikings?
I mean, against the Jaguars, I would just say
okay, gotcha.
Of how good he's been against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and last week he was not very good. Besides those mistakes, he made some rookie mistakes. He was lacking eyes with his receivers, which again you see rookies make.
Yeah, I mean, Eli didn't even play that bad in his worst days.
No, that was bad. Then again, they can get hopefully Jacob Eason ready, sooner rather than later, and he can come in and play better than Phillip Rivers. Then this is a playoff team. But until then, you're playing a good Vikings team that I think is going to bounce back. Again, their secondary is not great. We saw Aaron Rodgers tear it up, but I think they bounce back and they play better. I think Cousins plays pretty well in this game too, after what Gardner Minshew did last week.
We have an AFC West matchup down in Los Angeles as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs go to SoFi Stadium to face the Chargers. And yes, I get the Chargers defense is a top 10 defense. They're really good, but also they don't have Derwin James, and they're facing the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and that's why it's not going to make a difference for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to get in the 30s. Mahomes is going to have a big game. Hill's going to have a good game. Kelsey's going to have a good game. Edwards-Hilaire's going to have a good game, and they're going to get pressure on Tyrod Taylor, who didn't play that well last week. Yeah, they won the game, but they were lucky to win the game because of a missed field goal. I mean, he was outplayed by Joe Burrow in that game last week. Tyrod Taylor didn't play that well. I think he's going to struggle this week with the pass rush. They might get some yards on the ground with Austin Eckler, but I think that Tyrod Taylor struggles, and I got the Chiefs winning this game by a couple scores. I got the Chiefs winning 31-13 over the Chargers.
Yeah, I got KC win this one 31-20. I think, LA scores like a garbage touchdown late or, whatever. I love the way the Chiefs played. It was something I was not expecting. They just come out, control, time possession, not taking any shots.
That's the addition of Edwards-Helaire. That's the big addition of Edwards-Helaire. He pretty much replaces what Kareem Hunt was to them 2 years ago.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he does. 138 rushing yards. Yeah, Damian Williams, he put really well in the Super Bowl, but
he's a below average running back. That's the thing.
Yeah. And now you had a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire who just fits that offense so well. It's just scary, and I think this team's they're just gonna be a tough out game in, game out. They got some pressure on Watson too. I know Texans' offensive line's not very good, but they should be able to win this game pretty handily. Chargers, we're not great. They held on for the win, but their defense is good, but they're just, again, nobody's stopping KC right now. Absolutely not.
We got a matchup of two top 5 quarterbacks down in Houston as the Ravens face the Texans. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I just can't see Lamar getting blown out 2 weeks in a row. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think that Lamar Jackson will get his yards on the ground. I think the Ravens will be able to run the ball. But I also, even though the Ravens defense is good, I think Deshaun Watson is going to compete because this guy's a great competitor and he's going to play a good game. He's going to have the Texans there in the end. But unfortunately, I got to take the better roster in this game, and I got to take the Ravens to win it 28-20 over the Texans.
Yeah, I got Baltimore winning 34-21. Remember last year's
I remember the 41-7 game. Yeah.
yeah, that was ugly. They Ravens at 256 rushing yards against them. I think again they're going to be able to just control the ground game once again. And Houston missed Hopkins out there. They had a couple drop passes. I just, again, I think Baltimore just has way too much right now. Again, they played really well. I know Cleveland was bringing in a new system and all that, but they were complete effort. Lamar Jackson did anything he wanted to on the ground or in the air, and I think he's going to be able to have a lot of success. And such a tough first 3 games for Houston. You had Casey, because next week they go to Pittsburgh, which right now could be the third best team in the AFC right now.
Funny, you get the 3 best teams in the AFC the year you trade DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
See that you start out, yeah, but even with that though, if they start slow, O'Brien will lose the locker room because of that trade.
Oh yeah, oh no doubt. And again, I'll just say this too quickly. Why don't they just? I don't know why they didn't just do what the Cardinals did and just give them another 2 years, just add it on. I don't understand why they didn't go just do that and just keep them. But again, I'm not part of that organization. I don't know, but it was such a bad move, and it's gonna come back to haunt them big time. Lose a guy.
Absolutely. And talking about DeAndre Hopkins' new team, his Cardinals are 1-0, and they welcome the Redskins in this week. And I think for this game, yes, I know the Redskins got a great defensive line, but also in the first half of that game against the Eagles, you saw the biggest weakness of the Redskins, and that front seven. Even for how great that defensive line is, that's how bad that back seven is. That back seven is absolutely terrible, and I think that's going to be exposed on Sunday. I think Kenyon Drake has a good game on the ground, and I think DeAndre Hopkins has another huge day through the air. I think Kim and Kyler Murray have a big day for the Cardinals. Even though Kyler Murray will be under pressure, he'll still be able to, make up for it and make up for it. And I think DeAndre Hopkins has a big day. And for the Redskins, I think they get pressure on Kyler Murray, but I don't think it's going to matter that much. And I think offensively, they just don't. I like Dwayne Haskins. I like the way he managed the game last week, but I just don't think the Redskins have enough firepower to keep up with Kyler Murray. And I get the Cardinals beating the Redskins 27-17.
I get the Cards 28-24. Now Murray and Hopkins they looked like they were on the same page. That was terrific. Again, it's such a big one for them. They go to San Francisco. It's such a big statement when they kind of show the league, that Arizona is going to be for real and they're going to be a threat in this division. Washington, they showed the resilience that they had that second half. And I guess Dwayne Haskins, too, was the one that actually kind of pulled the team together at halftime, and he had the halftime speech, I guess. So it sounds like he's taking control of that locker room.
I like that. And another thing I liked about him, during the game when the Redskins started to build momentum, he was, fist bumping the defensive lineman, telling him, good job, fist bumping him. And I really like that. I like it. He's really maturing. He's really starting to really become a leader with this new coaching staff. I really, really like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, the staff's doing a great job with him. I think Ron's, been a great, influencer for him to really turn into a leader. It's really helped them. And I think with that defensive line, I think they're going to be able to put pressure on Murray. And I think maybe, they make Murray make a mistake or two, which again, the Washington keeps it close. But I don't, Washington is another team that it's going in the right direction. They just need to add some more pieces, especially on the offensive side of the ball in the secondary.
Absolutely. I don't think they win this game, but Ron Rivera definitely has this team going in the right direction. We'll wrap up our picks with the Monday night game, and we got the Saints going to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. And I think in this game, the Saints are going to be without Michael Thomas, so they might struggle a little bit offensively. Raiders don't do a terrible job stopping the run, but I think the Saints will get their yards on the ground, but not a ton of yards on the ground. I think Drew Brees, just like last week, I think he'll struggle a little bit, even though the Raiders' defense isn't that good. Without Michael Thomas, I think, Michael Thomas is one of the best receivers in football. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. And for the Saints, I think this is the biggest reason they win the game. I think it's because of their defense. I think their defense contains Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had a big week last week against the Panthers. The Saints very good against the run, held the Bucs to under 60 yards rushing. I think the Saints contain Josh Jacobs. I think Derek Carr moves the Raiders. I mean, he has a good day passing the ball. They move the ball through the air, but I think they kick field goals instead of getting touchdowns. And I got the Saints winning this game 24 to, I know the score is wrong. I messed that up. This 24-19 over the Raiders on Sunday.
Yeah, actually this morning, when I found out Michael Thomas was definitely out Monday, I kind of want to bring down the score here because I
Oh,
don't
you can
think
bring it down. Go ahead.
I
Bring
don't
it
think
down.
the
Yeah.
Saints are going to be able to score 31 now. I think it's going to be like 27, or I'm going to go to like 24-20 Saints. I think, Raiders kind of keep it close, have the chances at the end there. But again, the one problem with John Gruden, he just never makes adjustments in the second half, especially when they're winning ball games. It's run first and second down, and then pass third down. It's over. It's same old for the Raiders, and I think Saints are gonna be able to pull it out on the road. It should be a good one. I hear the stadium is supposed to look beautiful, so can't wait to see it on TV. But again, big loss for Thomas. They're gonna need Emmanuel Sanders now to really step up, be the number one guy. But I think the Saints go on the road and get the win.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, we'll see how we doing our picks this week. Last week, I think Justin beat me. He was 10-6. I was 9-7. I'm not sure what Joe was. He can comment in the comment section to see how he was. So yeah, Justin was 10-6. I was 9-7. So we'll see what ends up happening in week 2. Should be interesting. But we got to get to college football and pretty much breaking news of the day. The Big Ten is coming back. Who would have thought it? On August 11th, they postponed all fall sports. Now Big Ten football is coming back. Personally, I'm not. This isn't a political push to get Trump to be the president, but I feel like Trump definitely influenced Kevin Warren to bring Big Ten football back. I'm really happy Big Ten football is back. The season will start October 24th with 8 conference games, and then the last week of the season, December 19th. The top 2 teams in each division will play each other in the Big Ten championship game. Then something that has never happened though is each of the other teams, like the second place team in the East, will play the second best team in the West, and then it will go down from there. Each team in each place will play each other. So it's great to have Big Ten football back. As a Penn State fan, I'm really happy to have Big Ten football back. Even though Micah Parsons is out, I'm happy they got the tight end back too. So I'm happy to have it back. And Justin Fields is happy. And the way it's set up, Ohio State is definitely in great position to be a to get to the college football playoff.
They definitely are. It's great to have it back. Again, I know why they jumped the gun back in August. I understand that part. But again, after kind of seeing last week, I know college football's had their cancellations on that, but for the most part, it's panned out and they've been able to play so far. So kind of sat on the sideline and watched. The interesting, what I heard too is Kevin Warner's son plays at Mississippi State. So I think there was some.
It was hypocritical of him to postpone a season and then let his son play.
Yeah, it would have, and it would have really looked bad on his part. Again, so I think some of that pressure was there. I heard there was a unanimous vote between the presidents. Again, it's great to have this conference back, and it's nice too. The only issue is here. Again, I know they start in about a month. The thing is, they better not have one cancellation here because the college football selection committee votes or they select the 4 teams on December 20th. So you cannot wait another. You can't wait another. You can't have a postponement here. You got to be done by December 19th. And it sounds like the other Power 5 commissioners, as long as they play 7-8 games, they're fine with them being the playoff conversation. So
I think the biggest thing though is that if say they lose a week, they probably won't have a championship game. They'll probably just play the 8 games. They probably would take that conference championship game away if they lose a week.
Yeah, I would think that's what they would do, and then it kind of becomes a question: as we've seen in years past, do they they don't have that conference championship game? Does the committee think of it differently? That they don't have a conference champion? Again, we'll see. There's so many different circumstances that's going to go into the committee this year. So who knows? But yeah, as long as they get the 7-8 games in, it's going to be great to see. Justin Fields again could be a top 5 pick again. Going at it with Trevor Lawrence. I would love to see that rematch again. Ohio State Clemson, because that was such a great game last year. Be fun to be able to see that one again. But good to have the Big Ten football back, especially the last thing too, not just for the schools and the players and all that, but for the places around it. I know there's going to be no fans, but just for the restaurants and the bars that are open, that can get that have businesses, even the hotels that have to keep the players in it. It's good for kind of the community around it, to kind of get some business for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even though they won't go to the game, they'll still hang out, go to bars and watch. I mean, I don't know if the bars are open and
Yeah.
it's different in every state, but they'll still go out and watch the games. That's what I think it would help the communities around them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's definitely something. Hopefully, they put in consideration because I know that was kind of the tough thing. Again, when you cancel them, you kind of it's a big blow for all those places around it. The restaurants and hotels and all that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll get to the games though this week, and we'll start with Houston and Baylor. This is actually a game that just got put together because of the circumstances. Because Memphis's team came down with COVID after they were celebrating on a party bus after their first win. So we got Baylor and Houston, a battle of Texas, and I think this is going to be a really close competitive game. But I'm going to take the Baylor Bears to win in a close one.
Yeah, I got Baylor 2024. Yeah, put together in a week last Saturday. First time that these two are meeting, the former conference foes, the Southwest Conference, 25 years ago. They were still conference members last time they met. Should be interesting with Dave Aranda comes over from LSU as the D coordinator. Charlie Brewer's back. Just needs just over 2,500 yards to beat RG3's all-time record, passing record of Baylor. And then one guy to keep your eye on, Terrell Bernard, led the team last year tackles 112, 9.5 tackles for losses, 4 sacks. So that's a guy to watch out for. Baylor's got couple pieces back. John Lovett and most of the running backs are back to the Bears. We've seen the two in college football this year that, watching this last week or so, the offenses are really getting off the slow start. So I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. And then for Houston, Dane Hogelson comes in for year number 2. They got 16 starters back. Again, they thought they were going to have Dare King. Obviously, he's now in Miami. They got some pieces. Marquez Stevenson, almost 2,000 receiving yards last year. They're running the air raid offense. But I just think Baylor's going to be a little bit too much. But it should be a good one. It should be interesting, too, because both teams really haven't prepped for each other until Saturday. Houston was probably prepping for Memphis all summer. Baylor's probably prepping for Louisiana Tech, who they were supposed to play. But I'm going to go Baylor, get the home win.
Got an interesting matchup in Atlanta as UCF travels down to Atlanta to face Georgia Tech. And Mackenzie Milton's back for UCF, right?
Well, I guess I think he's practicing. He's not game ready yet.
Oh, okay.
Gotten the okay.
Okay, but I still have UCF winning this in a close one. Number 14 team in the country beating Georgia Tech in a close one.
Yeah, I got UCF again. This one 27-21. Very impressed with Georgia Tech, though, the way they went on the road. I know Florida State's not very good. I know, again, they're in pieces right now. But to go down 10-0 with a weather delay, a very young team, and they bounce back and get a 16-13 win in Tallahassee. Again, I think they had some fans there, too. Again, I saw a picture. It did not look like they were social distancing very well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me down there. But and Jeff Sims, a true freshman quarterback, was actually a former Florida State commit and decommitted 5 days after Mike Norvell took the job, went in there, threw a touchdown, had 75 yards on the ground, I believe. Special teams was an issue for the Yellow Jackets. I think they keep it close. Again, I think George Collins is changing the culture, changing everything about Georgia Tech. Give him another few years here to get his pieces in there. Georgia Tech's going to be a threat again in the ACC to, get the ACC championship games and all that, like they were under Paul Johnson for a while. For UCF, Dylan Gabriel is back last year as a true freshman. They got 16 starters back, 8 on the defensive end, and they were actually pretty good last year. They gave up 23 points per game. The secondary was pretty good. I like this UCF defense. I think this is going to be a really solid lineup defense. We saw, a couple years ago that they really struggled defensively, gave up a ton. That's not really the case anymore. They need a wide receiver to step up. Gabriel Davis left for the draft. But again, this could be UCF's year to get to the college football playoff. This is their chance in their year. So they better.
I mean, it might have hurt them a little bit now that the Big Ten's playing.
Yeah,
Probably helped them a little bit. The Big Ten wasn't playing because that could open that opened up a little bit. That took Ohio State away. So, but I think with the Big Ten playing, that's going to hurt them.
Yeah, it definitely does hurt them, but they still have better chance because the Americans to be strong this year. Since it's a good team, Memphis is going to be good. So Americans to be strong, but yeah, the Big Ten definitely does hurt.
Big game of the night on Saturday. It's as Miami travels to Louisville to face Louisville to face Louisville. So it's Miami against Louisville on Saturday night, and I think this is going to be a close competitive game. And I'm not going against De'Ara King. I got Miami winning it in the upset.
I got Louisville winning this one 34-28. I just Miami ran for over 300 yards. The offense looked good, but it was against UAB. I know Derek King's a really good quarterback, and he brings different style than what they had last year. Brings some versatility, but I'm just not a believer that he's the one piece that's going to change this whole offense around. I got to see it to believe it first. And they brought in new offense coordinator Reed Lashee last year. He was actually the former UConn OC back in 2017. When they actually scored some points, they just gave up 51. UConn gave up 40 points a game. So I really like him. Quincy Roach coming over from Pitt. I like him on defensive line. They got to get some more pressure on the quarterback. They didn't do a great job of that last week. And then for Louisville, Scott Satterfield's doing a tremendous job so far at Louisville. They were only supposed to project 4 wins last year. They got 8. Mikhail Cunningham's a really solid quarterback. They returned 15 starters, both sides of the ball. Tutu Atwell, he averaged last year 98 receiving yards a game. He's a guy that I think could be a second day, third day type guy at the draft this year. Also, Des Fitzpatrick is a guy coming back at wide receiver who also thought about going to the draft. Last year they really struggled. They gave up 31 passing touchdowns last year, and only 2 guys returned in the secondary, which is a little bit of concern. But I think Louisville is going to be able to get it done. And I forget how many total, but I know they're allowed fans there. I don't know how many total. So I think Louisville has the edge though, 34-28.
Yeah, we'll see. This isn't a great week of college football because the SEC and Big 12 conference play don't get started yet, but it's still got some good matchups this week in college football. But we got to shift over to baseball, and the COVID cases did continue. I mean, it reportedly continued last week as a Giants player reportedly tested positive for COVID, but eventually that became a false positive. But what this led to, though, was something that Rob Manfred did and Joe just put up a thing with the Mariners and Giants games got postponed in Seattle because of the air quality. But the big story in baseball, though, is the bubble in baseball. I'd say that's the big story and the one thing that Rob Manfred has actually done right. I actually can praise Rob Manfred for. We've been ripping Rob Manfred on the podcast pretty much all year. This is actually, I think, a really good idea. I mean, they're playing in, I think, the American League. They're playing games in San Diego and Los Angeles. In the division series, I think the ALCS is going to be at Petco Park. And then in the National League, they're playing at Globe Life Field and Minute Maid Park. And I think the World Series is going to be at Globe Life Field. So a great, great idea for Major League Baseball to come up with a bubble. And I even said it. This was the only way baseball was going to be able to crown a champion. And I'm happy they did the bubble. I praise Manfred for this. I mean, I've been on him for a lot of things he's done this year, but I praise him for this.
Yeah, he finally did something right. And it's something they had to do. They could not get around. They could not crown a champion this year without a bubble. Again, I know the players. There's been some pushback from the players a little bit. About it. Like I know Justin Turner wasn't happy that his family's at a quarantine for a week. But again, it is what it is. Again, NBA and NHL guys have been there since July, or June. July actually. So. Again, they could, again, it's going to be a month at the most. So, again, it's the right decision. They need to do it. it's going to be interesting too because there's no days off either. Between the during the champion series,
The,
the ALCS and NLCS. Like, there's gonna be no travel days, so we could maybe see some really crisp baseball if instead of these guys traveling, which will be fun to see, but it's gonna really test teams pitching wise in depth.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, having no days off, you're usually used to playing 2 days, getting one off. Now with no days off, yeah, I mean, pitching wise, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it's going to be crazy. You really can't. You can a best of 5 series. You can't bring a starter to the pitch in game 1 and have him come back for game 4. That was usually the thing that you would usually do. You can't do that now.
Yeah. So it's the teams that kind of can go 4 or 5 starters deep, and have 4 or 5 quality guys that you can lean on the postseason are going to have such a good advantage. And even because you can't even really lean on the bullpen because, so many days in a row here, you don't want to overuse them. And then the more looks you get, especially they pitch 2-3 days in a row, it's the hitters are going to get, are going to be used to them and be able to, see what they throw, or have a better idea of what they're throwing and all that.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I don't love that the fact they're playing all these games in a row, but it gets the season over quicker, and you don't have to travel day, so they're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, it's going to really test teams, and again in the year that you kind of that's kind of battle test. You've have the battle test till now, and now it's you get the playoffs, so it's going to be an ultimate battle test of your depth and how much you got in the tank left. You get to game 6 or 7.
Absolutely. But we now have to get to the Yankees, who, yes, last week on the show we were completely bashing them, and now they couldn't be playing better. All 5 starters, and Jeffy Garcia's pitched twice since then. He's pitched great. The rest of the other 3 starters have pitched outstanding. Even Jordan Montgomery pitched well on Saturday. The offense has Gleyber Torres has woke up. He's played well, and the bullpen's been good too. So pretty much everything's been good. They're now 27-21. They're ahead of the Blue Jays. They're in second place in the division. And right now, and they got Giancarlo Stanton back last night. Right now, they're playing better than pretty much anyone in baseball, and they're playing great baseball at the right time.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't listen to Cashman last week, Steve. Maybe they listened to us bash them.
I know. That probably was it. That was probably it. They listened to this show, and then they started to play. They completely started to play. Wherever they were 21-21, now they've won 6 in a row.
Yeah, they're playing really well.
And I feel like people do listen. I was bashing, Giancarlo Stanton on Keys to the City early in the season. Then he hits a 2-run homer. I was bashing Brett Gardner. Then he hits a home run. So they think they listen to this show.
Yeah, no, they know too. Yeah. They're probably tired of you bashing them.
Yeah.
They need that wake up call. But and I heard too they brought down Thairo Estrada, which sounds like maybe Aaron Judge is the guy that they call up tonight, that they reinstate from the IL tonight. So that would be another nice boost to have him. Aaron Judge back. But yeah, the team, I don't know what it was, but this team finally they just turned the corner. They just looked like they're having fun again. Gleyber Torres, because the lens are new. So I wonder, because he was chasing a lot. So I just wonder if he just was not seeing the ball, because he's been wearing them all the time now when he hits. So, and he's been batting 500 since. So maybe he just was not seeing the ball. I don't really know. They haven't really said anything, but that was kind of my thing I took away from it. Maybe just struggling to see the ball.
I agree there. I mean, since he's had the glasses, he's been red hot. So he's got to keep the glasses on. He's just been red hot. And I think for the Yankees right now, things are just going to get better, I feel like, because Garrett Cole's pitching tonight. And then they play the Red Sox this weekend. And they haven't lost to the Red Sox yet this year. So I think things are just going to keep getting better for the Yankees.
Yeah, it definitely could. Now, I know Boston would love to try to, take 2 or 3 and put them as like a 7 or 8 seed. But Boston may be really woken up to play the series this weekend. But I think things can get much better, especially you win again tonight against Cole. You kind of give yourself a game and a half over the Blue Jays, but you still got them next week for 4 straight. But yeah, again, hopefully Judge and Stan can get going. And yeah, they could be riding high, and again, again, if and they can stay healthy, this is one of the most dangerous teams in the American League.
Oh, absolutely. And once they get Judge and Stanton back, the pitching pitches the way they have, and the bullpen that's starting to find its groove now continues to pitch well. This team could be really. This team could, the sky's the limit for this team. Yes, we were bashing them last week, but this 6-game winning streak has really, changed my tune on this team.
Yeah, no, it has. Last week I was kind of, what, 7-8 seed? Do they have a chance here? And now it's like, again, and they're peaking too at the right time, which, again, they could go on and make a run here. They're probably not going to chase a raise, obviously, but they're definitely peaking at the right time, and they're playing some great baseball.
Yeah, it's crazy to think of. We'll be talking about Yankee playoff baseball in 2 weeks because they're the last week of the regular season next week, and then they start the playoffs the week after. So we'll be talking Yankee playoff baseball in 2 weeks. Crazy to think of that.
It is. It's crazy. I think this year's almost over already, and there's like 50 games, 48 games in. I think the Yankees have played so far. So it's crazy that it's a playoff push, and this is about it. And it's kind of the coming down the stretch here, the stretch run, and it is crazy. But I continue to play good baseball.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we'll be talking about them hopefully all throughout October. But we got to talk some NHL playoffs, and we have a team that advanced to the Stanley Cup, and that's the Dallas Stars, advancing to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I want to ask you this, Justin. Regardless of who they play, how good of a chance do they have of winning the Cup?
I think it depends. Lightning move on here. I think it's really, really tough. The Islanders, come back from 3-1 and take the Lightning. I think that they have a good chance. Dallas, it's weird. Now Ben Bishop's been banged up, and he was still unfit to play the other night. So don't know what's going to happen here if he gets another few days off here. And it's been a journeyman backup, 34-year-old Antoine Kabotin. He allowed 8 goals in 5 games. He played really, really well. And the thing is about the Stars is they scored a total of 15 goals in 5 games against the Vegas Golden Knights. But then they played very more defensively. But then they scored 57 goals against the Avalanche, and they're able to, there were some shootouts in that one. So it's a very interesting team. So if they want to play a shootout and be able to score some goals, they can. If they want to play that rugged, all right, 2-1, 3-2 game, they could do it. It's just crazy that they have a journeyman backup here that's just stealing the show. And they're 5-0 as well in OT so far. But, this is a team they were a 3 seed. They fired their head coach got fired. I think he was like verbally swearing or something. It was something of that magnitude. They just gave the interim coach the head coaching position yesterday. The full time now, whatever you want to call it. So this team's flying high right now, and I think they have a good shot. And the last time they were in it was 2000, and they won it back in 1999.
99. I remember that. I remember Brett Hull was in the crease and he scored that game-winning goal. But still, Buffalo fans still won't forget that. And then they lost to the Devils in 2000. Joe's a Devils fan. He might remember that. They lost the Devils. I think it was 6 games in 2000.
Oh, I did not know Joe was a Devils fan.
I think he told us one time after the show.
Oh, okay.
But so they lost in 2000. So it's their first Stanley Cup Finals appearance in 20 years. When they had Brett Hull and Mike Modano. That was the last time they got to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's been a while ago. They've gone through some logo changes and all that, and uniforms. But yeah, this team's got a shot. I thought Vegas was gonna win the series in 5-6 games, but they proved me wrong.
Yes. So we'll go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we got the Islanders and the Lightning. Had a really good game last night. The Islanders won in double, and I still can't name any player on this Islanders team, but they just keep staying in the playoffs. They won again last night, 2-1 over the Lightning. Do you think, Justin, the Islanders got a chance to beat the Lightning in this series?
I would love to see the Islanders get in, but I don't think they have enough. I think this is the Lightning's year. I really do. I thought they were going to end it. The Lightning were going to end it. Anthony Bourlet had a high sticking call with a minute 20 left. and it was a double minor because I forgot who he high stick, but the guy started bleeding, so it turned into a 4-minute penalty. And I thought that was going to be it. And they were able to fight to get the double OT. They took advantage of a turnover. Jordan Eberle put it away, get the 2-1 win. I thought after game 2, where they lost with 6 seconds left, they played well. They got shots on net. They just could not get it by Valesky. And Braden Point is out for the Lightning, which gives them a better shot. I just do not think they have enough firepower. The Lightning, for the most part, have really outshot them. And I just think that they're too much. Victor Hedman, the best defenseman in the game right now, has like 8 goals so far in the postseason. The 7th defenseman all time to do that, and he's the first agent. Brian Leach.
Brian Leach.
Yeah, Leach.
As a Ranger fan, I used to watch the Rangers in the early 2000s. I remember that.
Yeah, and that's the last guy that did it. And obviously, the Rangers won it in '94, and Hedman's looking to bring it back to Tampa, and I think they have a good shot. And they're the favorite. I just think this is their year. I think they're able to put it away in Game 6 on Friday night.
Yeah, it's got to be because the Lightning have been knocking on the door so many times. I mean, conference finals in 2011 against the Bruins, Stanley Cup finals against the Blackhawks, conference finals against the Penguins, conference final against the Capitals. They've been knocking on the door so many times. I feel like this is their year.
Yeah, same with you. And it would be fun too if Ben Bishop can get back. They got rid of him. For Vasilevsky, they gave him to Dallas. So Ben Bishop trying to shut down his former team in the Stanley Cup would be very fun to watch. Be a good headliner. Yeah,
it absolutely would. But we're going to wrap up the show with some golf because the U.S. Open is this weekend, and obviously we know who the favorite is. It's Dustin Johnson. I mean, he's right now clearly the best golfer in the game. And I got him winning the U.S. Open. Obviously, other guys you got John Ram 10-1, Justin Thomas 14-1, Roy McIlroy 16-1, and Bryson DeChambeau 22-1. So, U.S. Open always a fun golf tournament. A little bit overshadowed this year. Just the timing of it is just not good because it's during the NFL, during the NBA playoffs, and during the NHL playoffs. So the timing's not great. But still, I'll definitely be flipping back and forth, checking it out this weekend.
Yeah, definitely overshadowed with everything going on. There just, definitely is. And I think Justin Johnson, the way he's playing, I think this is his tournament to beat this weekend. Definitely one of the Opens I always watch every year because I think Masters next weekend or the week after. So that's.
I think Masters is November 14th.
Oh, is it that? Oh,
I think it's that late. Yeah.
I thought it was September for some reason. My bad. But yeah, always a good golf tournament. I think right now Justin Johnson's playing really well.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to, I'll check out a little bit of it. I mean, I won't be glued to it because of everything going on, but I'll definitely, as a casual golf observer, I'll check out a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check out. It'll be tough Saturday, Sunday with football on, but definitely check in for a little bit and check out top guys going into Saturday, Sunday.
That's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back here next week previewing Week 3 of the NFL season. Have a great weekend, everyone.